Here we go again, on the people's platform, fighting for our rights. We weather every storm, talking heads shout, but the truth won't fall. We rise up, united, unified, we stand tall. Here we go again.
Push back against the lies. Democrats, Republicans, we see through the skies. Let's debate it loud, no fear of the fight. We're taking back the night.
Flew with $120,000 in a backpack and gave this lady a list that said, just say white supremacy.
Some would say the officer was justified. I'll leave that to the lawyers, but what I will say, he was morally wrong.
Fuck all these other countries. Let them deal with their own problems, and let's deal with our problems at home. We got homeless veterans. We got homeless people. We got people that are begging for food on the streets.
What do you guys think of this whole, polarization in politics change, where either you're extremely left or extremely right type of thing?
Can we stop acting like the woman was driving like 30, 40 fucking miles an hour?
All right, we're live, guys. What's going on, everybody? This is episode 2 of the People's Platform. We're trying to make a place where everybody can talk from all three sides, independents, Democrats, Republicans. So it's pretty crazy what happened the other day. Does anyone want to open up with the ICE shooting?
Yeah, I'll open up with that. Just like they say, man, you get in the way of the ICE, you get in the way of the police. Hey, to each his own. You get what you deserve. That woman had an option that day. She's got kids, dogs, think about everything else. And what did she do at the end of the day? She basically just said, fuck them all, and I'm going to do what I want to do. And she got exactly what she deserved.
Damn, you really think so?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Cool.
Cops are taught not to shoot into a vehicle?
Well, do you know if police would actually have the respect of get respect, we're supposed to get, they're supposed to get respect from the people that, hold on, David, but this is the problem. Everybody thinks they're entitled. Everybody thinks they don't have to do anything with what the cops tell them to do. At the end of the day, what do, David? They just go out and people just harass cops. They purposely intimidate cops, and they go after cops 24/7 to get what? The all money dollar lawsuit, which your family will probably get at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, they lost their daughter because of it.
She's going to get reparations possibly in the future, or at least her child will. Get ready for that. Get ready for that.
They have already raised like 1.4 mil on GoFundMe or something like that.
Yep, that's where. If you can't even get all that's where it's coming from.
We're talking from the federal government. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a wrongful death suit going on right there because.
I mean, you're definitely going to get a wrongful death suit. I mean, her kids will probably be set for life and everything, but at what cost? Because she wanted to not listen to the proper commands of a police officer. I mean, we're a libertarian society. When I was a kid, when I was a kid, you never disrespected a cop. You never gave a cop a hard time. You did what the cop told you to do until he said you were free to go. Nowadays, these kids are lawless. They don't care, and they just do what the hell they want to do. And this is the price you got to pay. The ultimate price: death.
No, you're 100% right. But the problem is, they're not police officers. Those are federal agents. That's the difference. They don't have jurisdiction.
They are agency of the police, or law enforcement. Excuse me.
She's not. She's not going to see dime. Her family will not see dime one of a wrongful death suit because when it goes to the court, as long as it's a justifiable shoot, she'll make no money. Her family, I should say, will make no money ever. And we can argue the video if you want, but the video, it looks like it's going to be a justifiable shoot, at least from my perspective. Once it's this designated, hey, it was a justifiable shoot, there's no money. There's no money at all. How could she have gotten money? If maybe she if she got herself out of the car, was maybe wrongfully detained, if that was going to be the case, then she would have made money. But doing what she did, she's not making money. No one's getting money.
Well, Ken, here's the problem. Like, if you watch the video, some of the agents were saying, "Move your fucking vehicle." So then once one of the agents decided to pull on the doorknob, that's when she freaked and that's when she took off. And unfortunately, what happened. It reminds me of the Philando Castillo case, where the officer said, "Show me your ID," and he said, "Hey, before we go any further, I do have a firearm on me, or in my possession." I have the registration, and then when he goes for his ID, he gets shot up. So
on the video, you can clearly hear the officer saying, "Get out of the vehicle! Get out of the fucking vehicle!" The only other voice you heard was her wife saying, "Drive, baby, drive, drive."
Well, yeah, and don't forget her wife was standing out the car, ready, going at them officers right there, telling them to go eat a burger.
They did see out of the vehicle, but before then they said, "Move your fucking vehicle."
Yeah, but see, that's where the whole problem started. I'm going to share a video clip of a lawyer that was discussing what can an ICE agent do and what can they not, and they clearly had no right to even do any of that.
That's
legal authority does ICE actually have?
Americans are asking those questions because we should have a better understanding of what our government has been authorized to do. So ICE is a federal law enforcement agency. They are authorized under the Immigration and Nationality Act. So they are law enforcement, but their authorities as federal law enforcement are limited. ICE has two main components. The first is the Enforcement and Removal Operations, or ERO, and they focus on immigration arrest, detention, deportation. It's largely civil, so not criminal. There's a second division called the Homeland Security Investigations Group, and they conduct complex criminal investigations, human trafficking, drug trafficking, money laundering, child exploitation. They are partners with FBI and DEA, so they do have the ability to do criminal investigations. ICE does not have any general police powers, though. No federal agency does, because general police powers under the Constitution are given to the states and local authorities. So their authority is limited to whatever is in the federal law that authorizes them to do certain actions.
See? So they really didn't even have the right to do that. As far as what I'm hearing is they only have the right to maybe do a citizen's arrest and call local PD.
No, they
well, I mean, when is it okay for them to use that authority if their life's in danger or whatever? I mean, there's got to be some kind of line there.
Well, no, I know, but at that point, his life was not in danger. He approached her saying, "Get the fuck out of the car."
But Bill, at the point where she's impeding a federal investigation, then she's impeding on federal law enforcement doing their job. They had every right to pull her out of a vehicle, detain her, put her off the side.
Right, but
because people hear this, they hear, well, they can't do general policing. Well, that's true. They can't pull you over and give you a speeding ticket, or you roll the stop sign. They can't pull you over for that. But when you get in their way and you're impeding or blocking or doing anything that gets in the way of the investigation, my words are failing me, they then have some rights, and they can detain you for impeding a federal investigation because you were violating federal law at that point.
Who was she impeding?
They could have pulled her out, and they had every right to ask her to get out of the vehicle, and they would have had every right to detain her for impeding a federal investigation. That's why you see, hold on, Sullivan, that's why you see the other videos that have been floating around the day where they're tapping on windows and say, "Hey, look, if you continue to follow us, honking your horns at us, impeding our investigations, this is your warning," right? The next one will not be a warning, because at that point they can do things. So you got to be careful with that advice. Like, yeah, you're right. An ICE agent can't walk up to you and Bill and arrest you because you're jaywalking. But the second you put yourself in front of them and while they're trying to do a policing action, if they're there for legally, they can detain you.
Yes.
Okay. So
that's a very good point right there.
Here's the thing. I mean, she wasn't interfering. It's not like she was like, "Hey, you can't pass." There were cars going right by her.
She was waving the cars by.
Right. So she wasn't interfering, and she has a right to follow. She can follow them. She can't interfere. You're right. She can't disrupt or interfere. But
Hey, can we stop acting like the woman was driving like 30, 40 fucking miles an hour? If she was doing 5 miles an hour, it was lucky.
Well, a vehicle, it doesn't matter how fast the vehicle is going. Any strike from a vehicle can kill you.
It does. It's going to hurt you a hell of a lot more if he's doing 15 than it does at 5, dude.
Dave, let me back up for a second, Dave. She sat there for 4 minutes blocking ICE from entering and leaving and doing.
But she was waving them on.
Even her own girlfriend,
she waved them on.
Even her partner, who we saw in the video, said that that's what they were there to do. And even the other people, part of her organization, said that's what she's been doing. So she was trying to impede the investigation, make no doubt about it. Now, David, to your point, well, it's 5 miles versus 15. Dude, at 5 miles an hour, you can still kill a dude with the car. And those, listen, when you look at the video, you see her tires spin in the ice, and and look at you put yourself in his position. He hears the engine rev, he sees the tires spin, the car lunges at him. It doesn't matter if it's 5 miles an hour or 50 miles an hour, the reaction is the same.
Well, I mean,
is also trained not to shoot inside a moving vehicle. Every police department in every city of every state in the country.
If somebody's going to run you,
not to shoot into a moving vehicle.
If somebody's about to run you down and you're telling them to stop, are you just going to sit there and say, "Have a nice day"?
Vehicle.
Yes, you
do. My God!
Wow,
dude, I would shoot at you in a heartbeat, White, if you fucking try to goddamn run me down. I would pop 2 shots, no doubt about it, right at your fucking head.
We already.
But Tim, if there are other people around, if there are other people around, and you shoot, and that hits a person, and has there been other people around, and that she would have hit them other people? It could have been much worse.
Politics.
Just also, also there we have to understand also, and these are reports coming out still that the ICE agent probably a week or two prior was dragged.
It was 4 months. It was 4 months ago.
4 months ago was dragged 150 feet down the road by another vehicle. In anybody's opinion, I mean, did our federal government or ICE set this guy up for failure for PTSD?
Yeah, I think so.
He was.
Been in the field.
If he, I don't know. See, what I heard was the training from any law enforcement is you never stand in front or the back of a vehicle. You always stand on the side because the car can't go vertical. But he was too busy walking around the car, videotaping it with his phone, and he wasn't paying attention. He was in the line. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that justifies anything, but he was concentrating on his job.
He was to the side of the vehicle until she put reversed, and then when she reversed and turned the tires, that's when the vehicle was actually pointed directly at him.
Yeah.
So he was off to the vehicle's left, if you will.
But he was sitting there still. He wasn't moving. He was just videotaping.
When she backed up and turned the wheels, it changed the angle of the vehicle that he was directly in front of her. She then straightened the wheels, hit the gas, in which case she spun, and you heard the engine rev. She lunged forward, and as she hit him and he threw the weapon, whether she got scared or whatever, that's when you first see the tires start to turn to the right a little bit. Had she started her with the tires turned to the right, she might have missed them completely.
I don't think that she saw him. I don't think that she even saw him till she started moving, and it's kind of too late. Because she's paying attention to the guy that's trying to prop the door open. So I mean,
I think good grief.
Once again, though, look at. She's trying to flee from law enforcement at this point. So why are you fleeing to begin with? She put herself in that position by trying to flee to begin with.
They were saying that she's something with a law office or something. She was illegal.
No.
Something like that. But if she knew her laws, she knew she didn't have to, talk to them.
Well, she did have to stop.
She still shouldn't have. I still think she still shouldn't have drove off, but she could have rolled her window up and said, "Call PD. You're not dragging me out." Yeah,
but that was at the point where she's impeding a federal action, federal law enforcement action. They had every right to tell her whatever. So if she was in the legal community, which she was not, she would have known that she still has to comply. I mean, this is the thing. Guys,
that's the whole thing.
You want to not get detained? Just comply. When they tell you to move, if you notice with this, dude, there's a lot of times in ICE, they're just moving people out of the way. They're not detaining people, even though they would have every right to detain them and press charges. And actually, I think on a certain level, we're being too nice to these people when ICE is moving them, and these guys are jumping on the ICE vehicles. Now, you jump on an ICE vehicle that's moving, you could be detained and arrested and charged with a felony. But they're not. They're actually showing mercy.
Federal level.
Yeah, it's a federal offense. They're showing mercy on these protesters by not charging them federally when they could.
Obama deported more people than Trump. Yep. No one bit. You know why?
Because, I know why. Because politicians weren't telling people to get out there and block them.
Because they weren't fucking sending armed ICE agents out with fucking shoot-to-kill orders.
That's a good point, too, that you bring up there, Ken, is that our own politicians are telling people not to do these things, and go ahead and do these things. And even we got politicians telling them not to fight these wars, not to do this, not to do that. I mean, we got people in our government that's basically telling these people what to do, and they're listening and they're doing it. And guess what? This is the repercussions.
Well, her wife did say that they reported something that was in the neighborhood. If they see ICE, they had to go outside and blow. They had whistles around their neck and they were blowing horns and stuff.
And
she was
John,
reported
John, you bring up the point.
Tim, you're right.
It's a big difference to answer your question. When Obama did, Republicans were like, yes, please deport them, and they didn't. No one tried to interfere with ICE operation. The only difference between what Trump is doing and Obama is doing, literally the only difference is who's president. He's using the exact. Actually, no, there's one other difference.
No, because
hang on, let him finish. Let him finish, John.
He's using
you're right.
The exact same ICE tactic that Obama used. Obama did the exact same thing. The only thing different that Trump has done is incentivize them with the money to self-deport. Obama did not do that. Trump is doing that. He's like, hey, self-deport, I'll give you $1,000. Everything else that ICE is doing was the exact same thing they did under Obama, because guess who ran ICE under Obama? The same guy who runs it now, Thomas Holman, was the same guy doing the same mission for a different president. The only thing that's different is who's president. That's it.
Go ahead, John.
I think the difference is Obama did not use, like, he didn't campaign, I'm going to deport people. And he didn't have it where, like, I'm going to have the largest mass deportation in American history. Trump is doing that, and Trump's going above and beyond. And I think when it comes to getting rid of criminals and people who have warrants out for violating immigration, that's one thing. But when you're, like, going to schools, snatching up kids from schools, and just like going after people, that is different right there. Oh, that didn't happen under Obama's watch. So,
in fact, you know what's funny, John?
What's funny?
Obama still has deported more people than any president in the history of the United States. Deported more people than Donald J. Trump.
Right.
Even if you add in all the people that Donald Trump deported via self-deportation with the incentive, Obama's numbers are still clearly a lot larger. And yes, John, Obama deported. You know the picture you saw of the kids in cages? Those were Obama-era pictures. The only thing that's different is that Orange Man bad. So Democrat leadership, instead of being like, get on board, say, yes, we need to deport illegals and be a bipartisan thing like it should be, are saying, no, you need to put your body on the line and stop people from being deported. And that's a direct quote from the Lieutenant Governor.
And that's even the same, just like Chuck Schumer. They show him in clips telling him deport, send these people across back where they came from, all that. And now he's changing his tune about everything. I mean, be consistent with your message. Don't change your mind just because who's in office.
but okay, here's the thing. Now, is Trump trying to just get rid of the bad people and the criminals, or is he just trying to have a higher number than Obama's? Because if that's the case, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're doing this for the wrong reasons.
Listen, the previous administration let this go on. They let the port of entry come in. They let all these illegals come across the border. Trump had to do something when he came in office because of the fentanyl crisis and everything else like that. Most people want to say we went to Venezuela to get the oil. That's not the case. We went in there to get the, stop the drugs, stop from our people getting killed over fentanyl overdoses and everything else like that. You can say whatever you want over there, Wyatt, but the bottom line of it all, that's the main reason.
Everybody knows it's for oil, dumbass. Everyone.
Hey, why don't you do your research? Do your research, Wyatt. I'm telling you right now, it's not about that.
That's why we
Hey, David,
Hey, Wyatt, how much oil did we get from Iraq when we went in there? Now, fucking dry.
I agree with you, but don't call him a dumbass. Come on.
Well, the thing is, it was both. It was oil and to get Maduro. Because the U.S. company Chevron went in there and built all that and then got kicked out. I understand that part 100%. And Maduro,
I think the main reason's oil. I don't think drugs is the main reason. The main reason is oil.
I mean, if you go look at the pharmaceutical companies, they make more billions than the oil company, and pushing fentanyl and all the illicit drugs across the border and killing our people. I mean, we've had the highest number of drug overdoses and everything through the years than we've ever had. And who makes the most money off of that? China?
You need to go and check
Venezuela.
No, you're talking out your ass.
No, I'm not talking out my ass. Why don't you do a little bit more reading?
You're talking out of your ass. Go do some.
Hang on, guys.
whether the United States wants Venezuela's oil or not is irrelevant, because guess what China, Iran, and Russia want?
Well, it's owed to us.
Exact same thing. So it's like, do you give it to your adversaries or do you get it for yourself?
But it was rightfully ours in the beginning. They illegally kicked them out. So really, it's not stealing it. We want our oil.
Chevron was there. It was Texaco there first, which Chevron bought Texaco. And then what happened was when they found the oil, they put the infrastructure in place and everything else like that, and Petrobras took over. Petrobras is the Venezuelan government oil that's owned by them, which is, we know it as Citgo.
And once again, this is another situation that maybe a decade or so ago would have been bipartisan. Everyone would have been kumbaya, rah, rah, go United States. The only reason people are upset, Orange Man bad. Like,
no. 2003. We went to Iraq. We overthrew Saddam Hussein. When we initially did it, Iraqi citizens, yay, USA, go USA. 6 months later, death to America.
I didn't see that out there.
I see the same thing happening in Venezuela.
They all say death to America, but at the end of the day, when we come in there and bail them out and everything and save their country, they love us. They love us over and over.
I was literally in Iraq.
They loved us when we overthrew Saddam. They loved us.
Yeah, but Dave, it wasn't 6 months later. I was literally there for the first elections, and this was the first elections in 3 decades in Iraq, and the people there loved us, and they still do. There's a lot of love for the U.S. from the citizenry. The problem is when you start to get to the political power plays. You remember at the time too, Iran is trying to get insert their 2 cents into the political realm there. So yeah, ISIS pops up and stuff like that, but that wasn't the Iraqi government or the people themselves.
And let's be honest about these countries and everything else like that. If you ain't screaming death to America, you're gonna get popped in the head. I mean, these are third world countries we're talking about.
Yeah. So what do you?
I mean, not just that, but when you talk about Iraq, we did not have a long-term plan on how we're going to keep Iraq stabilized. There was no long-term plan at all. So that was one of the mistakes. And Ken Dobbs, you said that's how ISIS grew. That's how ISIS became, was in Iraq. So Saddam Hussein, for the most part, people thought he was bad and horrible, which is true. But if Saddam Hussein was still there, ISIS would never existed. But
people are forgetting why we went in these countries. Also, 9/11 happened. After 9/11, everybody wanted blood on. Everybody wanted to go after the bad guys and everything else like that. We wanted to flush them terrorists out of every single country at all costs. And hold on. Even if we had to fabricate stories from President George Bush about WMDs sitting in Iraq, which we never found anyways.
We did, but.
We did.
Okay, so look at ISIS wasn't born in Iraq. If Saddam was still there, ISIS still would have been there. They probably would have toppled them themselves. But I agree with you, Jonathan. We didn't have a long-term plan. We're terrible at nation building. We've always been terrible, right? So let's put a pin in that one real quick. We'll come back to that when it comes to Guatemala in a minute. Now, as far as WMDs in Iraq, here's the funny thing: you have the 2 chemical agents you need to make a deadly neurotoxin. Two agents that you would never, ever in a million years put in a warehouse together because, well, they're not used in the same industries. You'd have no practical sense to put them there. And not only do you have those 2 chemicals in the same warehouse, but you have empty warheads to fill it with. Technically, is it a WMD? No, because the compounds haven't been mixed. Can you mix it in a nanosecond and make it a WMD?
Sure.
Yes. So we found that kind of stuff. But we didn't find it already mixed in the warhead.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying by that, Ken, about weapons of mass destruction and not finding them like that. We found the properties of them, but we didn't find them put together as a whole.
But I mean, John, you are
so
right.
You never mixed acetylene and oxygen and like balloon bombs and buried them in the side of the hill and then watched them explode.
But I mean, like, no, these were
like
like VX. It was like the compounds to make VX. Like, one's an automotive thing, the other's a housing cleaner. Like, these are items like acetylene and oxygen. You'd see them together because you use them when you use a blowtorch, right? You use it; those things are used together in various different things. Make VX, like the stuff that was there, like should never in a million years be housed together unless you are doing one thing with it, making VX.
Was it true that he was really driving all the stuff around in vehicles to keep it from detection?
Yeah, they were doing stuff like that, and they were burying.
I remember that on the news that he was moving in vehicles.
That we've never found. 100 years.
Here's the thing, like here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I can't speak for everybody else. I can only speak for myself. I'm okay with getting rid of the drugs and all this other stuff. I mean, if there's fentanyl, I'm all for it. But at the same time, how are you going to talk about taking a stand against drug push in the United States when you just pardoned the guy who brought in the most cocaine in probably the past 2-3 decades? It's just like you're kind of contradicting yourself right there.
But here's the thing: we don't know the whole story behind it, why he got that pardon. There might be reasons why he got that pardon.
We do.
But at the end of the day, if we're talking about drug issues, I mean, it's just like he's kind of contradicting himself right there by doing that.
I mean, I can answer your question, John, because President Trump was literally just asked this point blank the other day. And look at in that case of where was he from? Colombia. He was the political enemy.
Yeah.
Of
Honduras.
Yeah, or Honduras, and he was
Honduras.
He was a political enemy.
Yep.
He lost the election, so they said, okay, well now we're going to make it so you can never run again. And basically, the Trump administration felt the charges that were brought against him were false and unjust, and that's why he gave him the pardon. Now, as to other specifics, like I don't know specifically, but that's what Trump said. Is they felt that this guy was not, in fact, what they was convicted of, and that he was basically given a raw deal.
He was arrested with 400 keys of cocaine.
That's just what they said. I'm just telling you what they said, Mike. I mean,
he was, dude. And what I've read and what I've seen, he was arrested with 400 keys of cocaine.
So I don't know how anybody has 400 keys of cocaine. You don't see too many drug cartel bosses running around with 400 keys on them.
I mean, that's the thing. That the whole circumstances around it were kind of.
In a trafficker? Are you fucking serious, dude?
But no, Dave. That's what they're saying. They're saying he wasn't. They're saying it basically was a frame job at the end of the day. So was it or was it not? I don't know. We can debate it.
Dudes were pulling 300 keys of cocaine in the fucking 80s, dude. Come on.
I'm talking about big time bosses do not carry weight on them. Is what I'm saying.
No, they got peons.
But in terms of Venezuela, though, it's
everybody knows that, dude.
Like, but to go to John's point again, though, in a way, John, I get what you're saying, but another way, it's a non-factor because they have been the drug gateway, where Maduro was letting them use government airplanes so they could fly their drugs under auspices of official government business, etc. So you've just stopped basically a drug hub, right? I mean, that's the most important piece of it. I get what you're saying, but you've stopped the hub, so now they're going to have to find another hub to get the drugs out of. You've disrupted the chain, right?
I mean,
the supply chain has now been effectively stopped. You can stop means of delivery because now they can't use Venezuelan government airplanes under the flag of Venezuela for official government business to deliver drugs into this country. So at least at minimum, you've slowed down the supply of drugs at minimum.
But doesn't fentanyl come from Mexico though?
China. It comes to China through Venezuela up through Mexico, across the border.
And Venezuela and a couple other places. However they can move it is where it goes.
I mean,
so wherever they feel they can get it into the United States the easiest is where it goes, and they move it from there.
And Bill knows this. I mean, who was over in Venezuela when the U.S. went through there, Bill?
What? I don't know.
What country was over in Venezuela?
Oh, China and Russia. Their diplomats were there.
Yeah, diplomats were there when we came in there and got Maduro.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
That they're allies with Venezuela?
And why?
They want the oil too.
Who do you think brings that? It's the Chinese mob syndicate. They all know that. Even China knows that. They're all protected. But at the end of the day, you go over to China, they're making it all the time and shipping it over. Synthetic shit, all that stuff. Where do you think K2 and all that crap came from?
Basically, if you look at Guatemala, if you go back,
he's an ex-DEA agent.
I mean, but at the end of the day, guys, look at once again, I go back to tribalism. If you go back 20 years ago and this action had been taken, bipartisan support. Yeah, we got rid of a drug dealer. We brought a man that by the way, had a bounty in his head to the Biden administration, and the Trump administration goes. So both administrations wanted to get him at some point anyways. Well, now it's done. Right. We should all be happy. There's no reason for partisan argument because both parties wanted this guy. But why do we get partisan argument? Because Orange Man bad. That's the only reason there's this
Why?
argument.
It's because he didn't go to Congress. It's because he didn't go to Congress.
Procedure man.
I thought he
bad.
did for any type
I
of
mean,
action.
seriously. I mean,
to a degree, Ken, you got a good point, but at the same time, just be honest with everybody. Just be honest.
Dude,
When's
the
government ever been
Republicans
honest?
have
Clinton
the
lied to us,
Republicans
Obama lied
have
to us,
all
Bush lied to us. They all lied.
the Republicans have all three branches of government. The Republicans
How you
in
doing today?
government stuck up to Trump.
Another long day.
If Trump really wanted
tired of these
to, and
long
I
days.
talked to you about this earlier, Ken, if Trump really
Yeah.
wanted to,
Have a great night.
he
Have a
could
good weekend.
went to Congress and asked.
He doesn't have to. For an operation
could've.
like this, all he has to do, look at his
He could've,
constitutional
it would've,
responsibility, Dave.
and it would have appeased the whole
Well,
fuckload
Dave,
of people.
here's his constitutional.
He's not declaring war, dude. He can do that. He's not declaring war. He's going in after a criminal.
I'm trying to tell you guys what his constitutional responsibility is. To notify Congress within 48 hours of action that he has taken action. He had notified those, the eight, right? The eight. He notified them within 30 minutes of action being initiated. So they're mad because they didn't get told beforehand. They don't have to be told beforehand. By law, by constitutional law, he has up to 2 full days to tell them. He told them while the operation was ongoing before they could say anything because they were, and rightfully so, leaks. They don't want leaks, and we've seen leaks in the past with other operations. And I think Marco Rubio had a good response to this during that press conference. He said, look, this was a fluid, basically, I'm going to paraphrase it. I don't remember the direct quote, but it was a fluid situation that we were the monitoring. We didn't know exactly where we were going to go because we had to wait for conditions. So we weren't going to go there and tell these guys, hey, we may go at some point in the next 7 days, depending on weather conditions. They just waited for their opportunity, then they took it, and then they told the eight, which is what they are supposed to do. They don't have to give anything in advance. And then I thought the response of, oh, we're now in a perma war. We're not in a perma war. Do you see boots on the ground? Do you see an invasion force?
I hope not. I hope not.
No, I mean, so he did constitutionally. He was constitutionally within the letter of the Constitution across the board. And other presidents have done this. I mean, look at, once again, this comes down to the point of tribalism. Because of who did it, we're automatically saying it's illegal. Nothing he did was illegal.
You're right. Obama had the drone strikes, and he didn't get authorization from Congress when he did the drone strikes. You're right.
And same thing with Biden.
Right.
And look at, like, when Biden gave money to the Ukraine and arms to Ukraine, he could do that without congressional support initially, and he did.
Trump did it before, dude. He did it his first term.
So, I mean, once again, the only reason we're upset is Orange Man bad tribalism. But when we take the tribalism away and we look at the actual issues, and then we realize, well, wait a minute. The guy I supported as the last president wanted the same thing to happen. The only thing different is a different guy did it. At the end of the day, I don't care who did it. We're better off for it, right? With the deportation, Obama did it. The only thing different, Trump is now doing it. Okay, it's the same thing. They're the exact same thing in the exact same manner, using the exact same tactic, with the addition of Trump. This part I'm surprised the liberals aren't mad at, believe it or not. Why are they not mad that we're spending hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in tax dollars to give an incentive?
Hang on, let him finish.
Like, they're not mad that we're paying.
You can go next.
Similar.
Hold on, John, let me finish it. How are the liberals not upset that Trump, the only thing he's doing different in his deportation policy is paying illegals money to self-deport? That's the difference between what he's doing and Obama. The irony is the left is not mad that the U.S. federal government is spending our taxpayer dollars to incentivize illegals to leave a country they shouldn't be in to begin with. You know what I'm saying?
Listen to me. At the end of the day, man, it's all about egos in our government. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't believe anybody in that government has any of our best interests. They're only out for their interests, and that's it. I mean, I just, there is no bipartisan. There's nothing up there right now. And what Trump does right now is what Trump feels is right. Not what is the popular vote, but what we need to do in order to protect our people, our country, and everything else, and our assets to go with it. So if he's going to do that right now, I'm all for it. At the end of the day, why shouldn't we?
Hey, Broski Bear, I know you do politics. If you want to jump on, there's the link. We're going to start doing political shows on certain pages. I'm not, if Ken wants to keep doing it on his, that's cool, but we're going to be doing it on
Yeah,
the
so
People's
guys, you
Platform.
can catch us right now at Talking Sports 18 on X, at Ken the Bear Fan on Rumble. What's it? Rob is Viking Rob VWO on X. At Ken the Bear Fan on YouTube, and we do have the Facebook page, which isn't working right now, which we'll get that back up, which is with the People's Platform.
And the People's Platform is going to be mainly on YouTube, not really Facebook.
Yeah.
We're going to try to keep it strictly YouTube.
But I'm
if you want
definitely
to
on
jump
my
on, bro,
account.
we hop on.
Definitely on the X accounts. I mean, X is politics fan, so feel free.
Yep, so is
Come on.
YouTube, man. I was scrolling through Reels this morning, dude. It's all politics, man. It's like 80% politics.
Well,
Hey,
it's a
guys,
hot
I'll be
topic.
right back.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Hey,
it's
Bill,
definitely
how much
a hot
longer are you going to
topic.
be doing this? Are you going to be on for a little bit longer? I have to
Yeah.
hop on for a second.
Yeah,
So
26 more minutes.
26 more minutes. I'll be right back, guys.
All right. What's up, broski?
What's going on, Bill? How you doing, man?
Pretty good. This is our second
Ken, what's up,
episode,
man?
We're just trying to get some politics going. We always talk about it everywhere else. We figure we do a podcast.
Nice, man.
Got all
These dudes do all these live Facebook Messenger things all day, which I don't do because they're well. To be honest,
That's another issue we have. Negative people in our country.
It's
day
more
and night.
violent. It's more violent back there.
Well, I'm definitely like,
in my opinion.
I mean, I'm definitely like a Republican conservative, man. I voted Republican for every fucking election of my entire life.
I'm
But yeah, I heard you guys talking a little like Venezuela and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's like, you know, if you want to hear my 2 cents real quick,
go
like,
ahead.
to me,
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
to me, it's multifaceted. Like, oh, it's absolutely about oil, and it's absolutely about rare earth, gold and silver as well, because we need energy. We need this rare earth and gold and silver to actually power the fucking AI revolution that's going on. We're in an AI race right now against China, right? Russia's trying to drag us into like a military, like Cold War kind of race too. So, but that's fine. I mean, whatever. But it's also about like, hey, we don't want China and Russia setting up shop there on our fucking hemisphere and having access to that shit. We don't want that happening, right? So that's another part. And then yeah, it is actually too to stop the fucking drugs coming into the United States. Like all of them are true. And the one I'm waiting for that doesn't get discussed as much is the one about the election rigging. Because remember, Venezuela supposedly was in on that in the 2020 election. So I'm wondering if they're kind of keeping that hush hush and they're going to bring that out at the trial or launch some like DOJ investigation or some shit and just like have that kind of come out of nowhere at some point. But I mean, Colombia, Cuba, Mexico, they're definitely on deck. And from what Trump sounds like, he sounds like we might actually send troops in on land into Mexico pretty soon.
Now, see, I don't know that.
And it's like, and it's one of those things like,
why? It's
ever since I was a little kid, like honestly, I had these crazy, like not crazy, but I thought about this like kind of stuff even when I was like in 2nd grade and 3rd grade. I'm like, why do we let Mexico and Cuba, our neighbors, our backyard, right, get away with like treating us the way they treat us? Like we're big and powerful. They're little fucking like shit countries. Like why don't we fucking get them in line? So I'm like, I'd much rather get the Western Hemisphere lined up, get that in check, keep China and Russia out than like I don't give 2 shits about Ukraine. I don't give 2 shits about the Middle East. You know what I mean? I don't really give a fuck about that. Like if we're going to use the military, you know, we don't necessarily even have to go in and do like what we did in the Middle East. We don't have to go in and just like send troops in and just conquer and just like, you know what I mean, set up camp for 10 years or 20 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like we can do that. We can accomplish that shit without having to do that. And I'm like, use the military for like our security and our advantage. Like get our hemisphere in fucking line.
Yeah, like I know when you brought up
I gotta
Mexico,
agree with you
David
on
was
that. I mean,
already-
I wondered for years why we don't. I mean, we know where the drug cartels are. We know where they live at. I mean, we got intel probably with the wazoo on that. Why don't we ever go into Mexico and remove all these drug cartels that go around killing government officials in Mexico who can't enforce laws because of the fear of death?
Because here's the thing, and like, look at Maduro was. If you're a drug cartel boss in Mexico, you need to be shitting your pants right now because look at we just walked in and got Maduro, who has a standing.
At the end of the day,
state. Hold on, let me finish here. Maduro is.
we need to be policing our own borders and everything else like that. We need to stop with the policing of all these other countries. We spend more money doing that than we do protecting our own people and homeless veterans, I might add. So
mute is needed.
So look at Maduro.
Who's talking?
Maduro as a state military, right? He is a national military. Drug cartels do not.
That's why.
Now, when we go into Mexico, I know Dave was like, why? Well, Dave, here's the thing. It's going to be with the cooperation of the Mexican government, right? Because the Mexican government, their president, she may say one thing in public because she fears for her life, but what she does behind closed doors with the Trump administration is completely different. What you're going to see in terms of Mexico is going to be this. Strategic strikes with SEAL Team 6, Rangers, whatever. They go in, take out the cartel.
If we do it with Mexico cooperation, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, it will be.
I don't have a problem with that. If we do it with Mexican cooperation, I'm all fucking for it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you got to put yourself in some of the position of like this world leader in Mexico, because she can't.
Like I said, if we do it with Mexican cooperation, then I'm all for it.
Right, but Mike, let me finish the statement though. Like, why? People go, but yeah, but look what she says about Trump, this, that, and the other. Look it. Put yourself in the shoe of some of these world leaders, like the president of Mexico, right? She has to balance a very tight rope with what she says and does publicly because she knows that the cartels are strong enough to basically.
Right. Yeah, so they'll get her ass.
You've got to say certain things publicly, which gets the left here all fired up. Oh, look what the president of Mexico. Yeah, but behind closed doors, guess what we're still doing with Mexico even today? Joint operations. And the thing with the cartels, where the U.S. has kind of not done what you want, broskies, because for the most part, as long as they left tourist areas alone, the Yucatan,
Cancun,
well, that's the Yucatan or Puerto Vallarta. They leave the tourist sections alone. The U.S. federal government wasn't going to go in after the cartels because they're leaving the tourist areas alone. But they've started, there have been some incursions into that. And now they really just want to now the cartels are a big enough problem. I think the administration, and I think the Biden administration may have felt it, but didn't say it. They know they've got to do something. So she's had to say one thing publicly, but trust me, behind closed doors, here's the locations. Here are the people who they've got infiltrating our government. They're sharing data and intel. And it's not like you're going to see the 82nd Airborne parachute into Mexico and hold Mexico City. No, you're going to see Delta and strike forces and teams go in, deal with the cartel heads, rip out their infrastructure in conjunction with the Mexican special.
See, I would honestly, I never understood why no other previous president wanted to help clean up Mexico. Its borders are our country.
Exactly.
Canada's doing, real good. United States is doing good. Mexico's doing good too, but the cartels can't run that country.
Yeah, they definitely do.
I think Mexico would be a lot better off.
Yeah, they would. And David, like, this is what I wanted to say to you. Like, so there's a whole thing called the element of surprise too, right? So it's like you can't really publicly be like, oh, we have Mexico's permission. Oh, it's all in the media. Oh, let's go do it. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like. And then also, we at this point, I mean, they've been shitting on us for decades. They've been, going across the border illegally, doing all types of human trafficking, killing people, just poisoning them with drugs. Like, dude, no, if we want to go over there any given time, it's called the Monroe Doctrine. We can, and we will. You know what I mean? And honestly, it's going to be to the benefit of the Mexican people also. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's how I look at it.
It's just like, what we're doing with the fast boats and everything coming out of Venezuela, what we're doing. We're inching closer and closer to the point where we're going to start taking out cartels and we're going to start, bombing the hell out of them, from above. Whether they'll be able to tell it came from the United States will be yet to be known. But I'll tell you, at the end of the day, it's inching closer and closer to where we're going, and actually we're going to eliminate these cartels.
Oh, dude, we might wake up tomorrow morning and be like, oh, there's a ground invasion in Mexico, or we have troops on the ground in Mexico, and we're taking out some narco camps or something. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're going to see a full-scale invasion of Mexico. It's not like the 82nd and the 101st are going to go charging there with third ID. It's going to be it's going to be like, you know, I'm going to quote George W. Bush, a small lethal force. That's what it's going to be. They're going to do teams in conjunction with the Mexican Special Forces, in conjunction with DEA and other organizations, and they'll have close air support. What you saw in Venezuela is a supersized mock-up of what you can see in Mexico, because with Venezuela, they also had to remember, Venezuela is a nation state with a standing army much superior to that of a drug cartel. They had Chinese anti-aircraft systems to take out. Right. They had Russian anti-aircraft systems to take out. They had naval concerns to box in. They had to contain, you know, an air force from taking off. Then they had to land the 160th SOAR, had to put the Delta team, the D-Boy guys, into a military compound to basically go in and get 2 targets of interest and get out before 3,000 soldiers woke up and came at them and get out. And you don't have to face that with a drug cartel. Now, but I will say this, the drug cartel may show more small arms resistance than what we saw in Venezuela. You'll probably see actual casualties.
I mean, was out there in his pajamas, dude.
And as time goes on, these drug cartels will be labeled terrorist organizations more and more. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying in general, more and more, and we'll be able to go in there and get them as fast as possible. I mean, at the end of the day, we will have to go into Mexico eventually and clean house in order for that country to survive and stabilize itself.
Look at it this way: what's the president's name in